Whether online or here in person, good morning and thank you for being here. I included this in the insert. The reason I did, for a variety of reasons, because I'm using Joseph Campbell anyway, this would be a roadmap for any adventure, and I want to include it as you're choosing to do something, whether it's love or some great adventure. Expect this what may show up in the path. Joseph Campbell is saying these are universal myths and paths, and so I offer it to you. Okay? I also want to take a moment and give thanks. Danielle and her beautiful music this morning. Yay. Our interpreters, Megan and Rebecca, thank you. Little seen, but doing massive work is our office staff, Lydia and Karen. Drop by and say thank you and hello. And our AV staff. Today, many people, Aaron today and Jude, who coordinates all, they're just amazing for both online and here, okay? And already noted, Ursa, thank you for your ministry. Take a breath with me. Every life has moments that ask something of us. A new love, a loss, an illness, a move, a child, a cause, a question we can no longer ignore. Joseph Campbell called these moments the call to adventure. I simply call them the invitations that shape who we become. This morning I draw on the work of Joseph Campbell. Joseph Campbell's life work was a study in mythology and its relevance to the here and now, to our lives. Especially, I would say, in challenging times like this, filled with opportunity, and as Polly mentioned, the challenge. His most known work, and let me turn this on, is A Hero with 1,000 Faces, which is a mythic metaphor in itself, since Campbell saw each of us as the hero and heroine of our life. He wrote over 30 books on this theme, and lectures and writings that are continuing to be compilated and formulated and published. These are two that if you want to do a dive into Joseph Campbell, I would recommend. Also, if you have PBS streaming, The Power of Myth, that was published, 20, 30 years ago? Who watched that? Yeah, a lot of you. Is still there and still relevant. Campbell defined heroes and heroines as someone who has given or been called in their life to something bigger than themselves, answering the call to adventure, undergoing transformation, and returning with it with the elixir that brings healing, insight, renewal to them and to their community, even the world. Now, you may be immediately thinking, that well may be true, and I'm no hero or heroine. My hope this morning is that by end of this service, you're recognizing something surprising. You already are living a hero, heroine's life. and need to respond again to the call to adventure, maybe in this time of spiritual, cultural, and political angst. Campbell speaks to hearing and responding to the call of adventure. This call is the moment when life invites, even compels, to leave the familiar to move towards growth, transformation, and a larger life. I believe that call comes from what I call the genius within, the quiet wisdom that continually invites us towards a fuller, truer life. The call rarely arrives as a trumpet blast. More often it comes as a whisper, a restlessness, a heartbreak, a longing that refuses to disappear, a question that won't leave you alone, a quiet knowing something must change. It may be a longing you can't ignore, responding to a crisis personally, socially, politically, culturally, to your very being that disrupts your life. It may become as a loss, an illness, a failure. The call to adventure might be falling in love. I would even say that for most of us, that is one of the calls to adventure, the hero-heroine's journey that we all embrace at some point. It might be a new opportunity, a growing sense there is something more that only you must do. The call might come out of anguish, and we heard one of those this morning in our joys and sorrows. Candace Leitner's 13-year-old daughter, Carrie, was killed by a drunk driver. Grief could have ended her story. Instead, it became her call. She founded Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Her personal tragedy became a movement that has saved hundreds of thousands of lives. This is a true heroine's journey. The call to adventure might be like Dr. Seuss's book, Oh, the Places You'll Go. Congratulations. Today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own. Dr. Seuss gave a reality check. You'll come down from lurch with an unpleasant bump, and the chances are then you'll be in a slump. And when you're in a slump, you're not in for much fun. Unslumping yourself is not easily done. In the archetype of the hero-heroine's journey, the path is known. Once you embrace the call, cross the threshold in saying yes, challenges occur. The slump, the bump. Positive ones in that you will meet mentors and allies who will support and challenge you. You will face those who say, you can't do that. You won't succeed. Even from the dark voice that within doubts yourself. The fear within that freezes one to not take the next step. The step you know you need to take. Trust. Yes, trust. The call to adventure will grow you. You will develop insights, wisdom, and strength you did not know you had, and you will develop new strengths and new insights. Now, the call to adventure may not be grand in the world sense. Some of the most courageous journeys are not across continents. They are into our own identity. For some, this means embracing an identity you were taught to hide. Whether you are transgender, non-binary, gay, lesbian, bisexual, straight, have a little difficulty hearing or seeing, you're still discovering who you are. Becoming yourself often requires crossing that threshold. There are allies. There are mentors who will champion you. Be you, they will say. There are also ordeals, especially those who seek to define you with stereotypes of male and female and who you should be. And yes, there are those who even stereotype us as male or female and tell us who we should be. There are biases. Even ChatGPT seemingly has them. When I asked it to create the image of a hero's journey using non-binary, gender-fluid characters, all the characters it produced were female. Go tell. Yet the invitation remains, become more fully yourself. Be you. Embrace the adventure of claiming your uniqueness. I claim everyone here has had or will have a call to adventure that is universally human. We are hardwired for connection. We have a basic need to love and be loved. So hear a story of a hero and heroine's journey that embraced this call to adventure. A deep relationship. Marriage as a call to adventure or deep relationship. I met a couple when I worked for a hospice many years ago. I will call them Bob and Alice. Alice was dying. Bob told their story to me. They met when he was in the military during World War II. He had a childhood sweetheart that he planned to marry if he returned. On a foggy morning at his base before radar was perfected, two planes collided while landing on the runway. Dead bodies, fire, chaos. He said he was so distraught that he walked the perimeter of the base. He said, I had never done that before. There he met a woman, Alice, who happened to be taking a walk that morning, and she said, I had never walked the path before. Their eyes met, they chatted, and Bob said, I knew instantly she was to be my wife. And Alice later told him she knew that too. Neither stayed in their hometown or continued the life they expected. He spoke to the ordeals, struggles in the marriage, challenges in nurturing 3 children, facing illness, now death. At times he said, we didn't know how to do it. And we sought out professionals, friends, and within ourselves, we figured it out. He concluded, it is a mystery. It is a mystery how a day of such tragedy, how it could become such a life of adventure. Growing love, though at times, he said, I doubted. And 3 grown children, many grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. He says, I think we did a good job. They're successful. They know love. And I know love in a way I never expected. I know love in a way I never expected. What he said at the end is the elixir, the wisdom imparted from the life, the heroine's journey to his family, community, and now to us. I know love in a way I never expected. When we meet the love of our life, we stand at the threshold of a world shimmering with hope. Everything seems possible. Been there? Then life begins its quiet work of revealing that love is not sustained by dreams alone. From the musical company, the song Being Alive speaks to the joys and ordeals of marriage. Let me set the scene. Bobby, the main character, is on the verge of responding to the call on the threshold to love and marriage. He resists, and then we hear his yes in this song. Now, let me give you something. In my next hero's journey, in my next life, I'm going to be musical, and I could sing this, but I'm not for you today, okay? But hear Bobby's words. Someone to hold you too close, someone to hurt you too deep, someone to sit in your chair to ruin your sleep, someone to need you too much, someone to know you too well, someone to pull you up short, to put you through hell, someone to crowd you with love, someone to force you to care, someone to make you come through, who'll always be there. As frightened as you of being alive, as frightened as you of being alive, being alive. Resonate at some level? Joseph Campbell spoke to this. He said the whole thing in marriage is the relationship and yielding. Marriage is not a love affair, meaning not immediate satisfaction. It's an ordeal. It means yielding time and time again. That is the challenge of marriage. What a beautiful life together as growing personalities, each helping the other to flower. Each helping the other to flower. How has love grown you? Where have you crossed the threshold to such love, or might be more open to the adventure of love? Campbell noticed that life's adventures often follow a recognizable pattern. First comes the call. Then comes crossing the threshold into the unknown. Along the way, we find helpers, we face ordeals, we are changed. And eventually, we return carrying something that blesses ourselves and others. And that is the elixir. As you become, you as the gift and the wisdom to transform this world, what the founder of Mothers Against Driving did. And we could name various members of this community who have heard the call to make this faith community better. And here we are. If you met me As a young man on a chicken farm on the Eastern Shore, neither one of us would have imagined that someday I'd be standing in this pulpit. Yet life kept calling. Teacher, minister, hospice social worker, life coach, therapist, husband to my beloved Reed. Each chapter of my life required letting go of an identity so another one could emerge. And so it has been with your life and will continue with your life, if you choose to say yes. Campbell reminds us that the call always invites us beyond the familiar, towards growth, transformation, and a larger life. He once said, "The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek." The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek. Perhaps the treasure the world most needs is already within you. Trust the quiet voice. Cross the threshold. Take the next step. Allow life to shape you into someone you've not even imagined. And when your journey changes you, return with your gift. Because the world is waiting for the unique genius that only your life can reveal. None of us here can see the path before we begin. The journey never works that way. It begins with one courageous yes. Somewhere within you, there is already a whisper. It may be inviting you to forgive, to begin again, to risk love, to stand for justice, to create beauty, to speak truth, and all become more fully yourself. At the beginning of this sermon, I suggested that you may already be living your heroine's journey. I hope you now recognize that you are. The world does not need another imitation of someone else. It needs a particular gift that only your life can bring. So listen to the call. Trust the journey. Ask what's calling you. Embrace the adventure. Become who you are meant to be. And then, as Dr. Seuss reminds us, oh, the places you'll go. Thank you.